Good to see you, Tony Katz. The name of the show is Tony Katz Today. And box just came in yesterday from Foundation Cigars. That is the Olmec, people. That's getting opened. That's getting smoked. A lot to get to, including Trump's ultimatum. And the Hulk is very real. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Don't forget to comment and follow wherever it is you are. Like, subscribe. Good to be with you. Let's get the show started.
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that because that's Israel's decision. But as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday. And if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock. And after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
That's President Trump while he was signing executive orders yesterday, talking about the hostages, talking about what it is that we're seeing in Israel with Hamas and how Hamas can't be trusted. This came out of a conversation of Hamas changing the rules. There was a deal in place and hostages to be released. And they, being the murderous, terrorist, low-life bastard sons of you-know-whats that they are, they tried to change the rules. And, Israel's not doing this and Israel's not doing that. So therefore, we don't have to. Remember that no one in Hamas, no one in that hierarchy cares about human life whatsoever. They don't care about anybody's life. If Israelis die, they win. If quote-unquote Palestinians die, they win. This is how they think of things. This is how they view things. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. What's going on, everybody? Find everything over at TonyKatz.com, live streaming in all the places that do live streaming, YouTube and Rumble and the Twittix and the Facebooks and all the stuff. So wherever my name is, I'm probably there. Hamas changing the deal is because Hamas wants to, in every way, torture these people as much as possible. We know that they have. President Trump seeing these men come home. I mean, referring to them as looking like Holocaust survivors is accurate. And so that led to the conversation. Now, it's a pretty big statement. Saturday by noon, or I'll let all hell break loose. First of all, who's noon? But neither here nor there on that one. That's a small one. The big one is, what does that mean? Let all hell break loose. So let's break this down into its two very, very component parts. What it is that got said and how that can be understood. Right? So you've got two different things that are happening here. First, what it is that President Trump was maybe getting across or allowing to happen. Certainly, he was vocalizing his own anger and his own disgust. These terrorists need to be destroyed. And all these supporters of terrorists, whether it be the Ayatollah or whether it be those on college campuses and those professors and those in the halls of Congress, like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Chris Van Hollen. These are the people I consider as despicable as the day is long. They should know that this is over. They should know that this is over, and there is the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara, the evil, the good and the evil, the Tov being good, and the Yetzer Hara being evil. That's in the Hebrew. And we're going to pick the side of good. And the side of good is not the side of terrorists. Now, that is not a conversation about whether or not you think Israel does something wrong. This is about recognizing that Israel has the right to exist. And as a matter of fact, that conversation is past. They have the right to kill their enemies dead. So, by the way, does the United States. And these Hamas lowlifes, supported on college campuses, supported in the halls of Congress, they took Americans prisoner. They took Americans hostage. So by making this ultimatum, I think Trump is actually showing a frustration, which is understandable, a disgust with how these people were treated, which is understandable, a disgust that this would not have happened if he was in office, foreshadowing, and I've had enough. Allow me to put my stuff right out on the table for the world to see. In this statement, he also allowed for Israel to engage its negotiation its way. President Trump was clear to say on multiple occasions, this is up to Israel. Israel can override me. His exact words there. Israel's choice on how they want to do things. I'm saying. So then you understand that he's not setting so much of a policy. He's making a statement that what he sees is disgusting me, and it has to change. Now, many people will say, well, you can't get these people to like you. You can't get these people respect. You can't threaten them because you're also saying you're going to be moving Palestinians right out. You're going to move Palestinians out. You're going to force them out of their homes. As a matter of fact, this conversation was part of the Super Bowl interview that Brett Baer over there at Fox did with President Trump.
There are a lot of hotspots around the world. I want to hit a few quickly.
Okay.
With Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, you said this.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it.
That caught a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah,
obviously. Some positive, but even some of your supporters wondered whether that meant U.S. troops were going to have to be going into a dangerous Middle East conflict.
No troops.
So where is it today?
I've been watching 50 years, 60 years. They go in, they occupy, they get slaughtered, everything's terrible, everyone leaves, they go back. This has been going on for forever, right? Forever. Now it's essentially a demolition site. There's practically no building that's livable in the whole thing, on the whole Gaza Strip. I say we go in, we knock them all down, we just create no more Hamas, there's no Hamas there, there's nobody there. We move them into beautiful areas of the Middle East. I'd like to go to Egypt. They have a lot of land. I'd like to go to Jordan. I'd like to go to others. And we'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities.
This angered a lot of people. Now, certainly you had the people as outrageously dumb as Ilhan Omar saying that this is nothing more than ethnic cleansing. That's a take. Ethnic cleansing, one would argue, involves killing, not moving people and providing them houses. But certainly you could say, hey, this is an undertaking. I don't know if you can actually get this done. Maybe Trump's conversation there about the how the hostages have been treated is giving him some further strengthening to this position of these people have to go. Because what he's really getting to is something we've discussed here and something you know to be factual. Palestinians cannot govern themselves. First of all, even the name Palestinian is a fraud. It's a total misnomer. They're not Palestinian. They aren't from Palestine once on a map. That's not the case. They're not the people of Palestine. That's just not true. There's no historical frame of reference to it. That's not me being angry. It's not me being hateful or spiteful. It's just a factual statement. There is not an Arab nation that will take them. You heard him talk about Egypt and Jordan. They said they're not going to take these people. They haven't taken these people historically. These people have been left as the bastards of the Arab society. That is not my fault. I did not invent the terminology, and I will not be held to account for making a statement that is factual. I will say it as clear as day. This is what history has shown us. That's exactly what's happened here. So maybe Trump's conversation regarding Hamas and return the hostages is a way of signaling that if you want to actually stay, you better make moves. maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm being a little too generous with what Trump is saying, and maybe he's just being a little more direct. These people are gone. Get the hostages back, or let's kill all these terrorist lowlifes, and that's it. But what I think he has done in this statement is set up Benjamin Netanyahu to be the quote unquote voice of reason. To say, hey, you see what Trump wants to do to you? We just want our people back. So you keep giving us back our people and everything will be all right. You just keep giving us back all our people. And that's it. Maybe. Because there was a statement that was put out a little bit earlier today that says we want the 3 hostages that are supposed to be released on Saturday. Well, that was earlier. Now, as the Jerusalem Post reports it, Saturday noon deadline for hostages return or war resumes. The hostages he's referring to are the 3. If Hamas does not return our hostages by noon on Saturday, the ceasefire will end and the IDF will resume intense fighting until Hamas is decisively defeated. Now, let me take it back. I thought this was just the 3 and the deal going. Maybe he means all of them. Maybe Netanyahu feels that he can utilize this as a leverage point, as I was discussing, which is what I thought he would do, to say, hey, just keep those people coming and everything will be fine. I'll keep Trump at bay. Doubling down on what Trump said. Well, that sounds like Netanyahu. Something else that Netanyahu is going to say. Look at what Hamas did to Israeli citizens. Never mind the murder, never mind the burnings alive, never mind the rapes. Look at what they did to these hostages. We're going to let these people govern? Are you nuts? You cannot let the Palestinians self-govern. They don't know how. They're not capable. They're not able. They are filled with hate and rage and lies, and they cannot create a society that would actually grow. They can't do it. No shot, no chance. They cannot be allowed to govern on their own. Anybody who thinks so is not only criminally insane, but actively wants Hamas to be reconstituted or another terrorist organization under a new name to be reconstituted and continue destroying Israelis, Jews, Western civilization, etc. These are the facts. So was Trump trying to create an opportunity for Netanyahu? Was Trump showing a level of disgust for what he saw on a visceral level? I don't know. I don't know what lies in the heart of the man, but in either case, I'd be like, yeah, I get that. I was working as a bartender in New Jersey. It was a long time ago. And there was a video of an Israeli soldier who had been captured, killed, and they dragged his body behind was it a truck or a motorcycle? I remember seeing it because the news was playing on the TVs at the bar, and I remember seeing it, and I'm working, and I remember getting emotional. I'm not like that. I don't. On very few things do I get emotional. Really, it is family. I remember it like it was yesterday. I felt the same way seeing these 3 being released. We don't have any clue as to the hell they've been living in, and it's possible. Those of us who are connected in this way, it's easy for us to understand that Trump saw this and said, oh, we're not having this. I'm president of the United States. I can do something about this. I'm not living in this world. And that's why he made the statement. But I hope it certainly works to getting these hostages back. And then every Hamas member has to be killed. And I would debate this with anybody, argue this with anybody. The proof is in the reality. All Hamas members need to be destroyed. No, the Palestinians cannot govern. They, like the Jews, need 40 years in the desert to get out of that slave mentality. The Palestinians need 40 years to get their heads right about where they are in the world, who the real enemies are, and most importantly, stop hating other people just because of their existence. That's what needs to happen. That's it. That's what needs to happen. There is something else in this talk that hasn't gotten mentioned really anywhere, and I think desperately should. Saying get us back our people by a date certain, or we'll let all hell break loose. That should have been said by Joe Biden on October 8th, 2023. You take Americans hostage, I want them back by tomorrow at noon, or I'm going to let all hell break loose. If you aren't willing to put the fear of America's might into terrorists, my God, exactly how embarrassed are you of America's might? Me, I am not embarrassed of it, not by any stretch. I'm in favor of its use when necessary, but I'm always in favor of people being reminded of what can happen. I don't want to be bothering anybody. I want to be left alone. When you take Americans hostage, you should expect to die. You, your wife, your children, your dry cleaner, your used car salesman, and your accountant. Gone. Don't take Americans hostage. I think that's a clear statement. And certainly one that the President of the United States should be making. Without question. Should be making. And Joe Biden didn't. This equivocating, blubbering mess that he was. I'm glad we won the election in November. I'm curious to see what happens on Saturday. And I'm praying that every hostage is alive and well. I'm Tony Katz. Guys, good to be with you as we are in the radio break right now. So this is the Olmec Claro, right? Yeah, the DB. I think the cigar is sensational. That's the Olmec right there. Look at that beauty. I don't know what that is, but it happens. It's all right. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Smoke them if you got them. Where's my cutter? There it is. I usually use my Arturo Fuente Rare Pink cutter right there. Just check that out. It's a beaut. And we'll be back to the radio show in a minute. For those of you on this, well, everyone here is on the live stream. Good to be with you. My troll count has picked up. I'll tell you a story later about that. That's kind of nutty. But I guess some people have dug into my past a little, like, oh my gosh, look what Tony did, and oh my gosh, look what happened. I'm reminded that I am not my mistakes. People really think they can tear you down, man. That's adorable. Absolutely adorable. I'm glad you guys are here. Tell your friends. We've got much more show ahead. Let me get a couple things together here. You have JD Vance talking about AI in Paris. We will discuss that next. Music in 5. Very, very good there, producer Landon. Thank you. Come back.
This administration wants to be very clear about one last point. We will always center American workers in our AI policy. We refuse to view AI as a purely disruptive technology that will inevitably automate away our labor force. We believe, and we will fight for policies that ensure that AI is going to make our workers more productive, and we expect that they will reap the rewards with higher wages, better benefits, and safer and more prosperous communities. From law to medicine, manufacturing, the most immediate applications of AI almost all involve supplementing, not replacing, the work being done by Americans. Now, combined with this administration's worker-first approach to immigration, we believe that a U.S. labor force prepared to use AI to its fullest extent will instead attract the attention of businesses that have offshored some of these roles.
Kamala Harris could never have delivered that message. She just could not have delivered that message. Tony Katz today. What are you doing? Good to be with you. 833-468-8669, 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the show. He's there in Paris. It's this big AI summit. And that is a statement, by the way, regarding the American worker. AI can augment. AI does not replace. AI does not replace the American worker. That's just not the way it's going to happen, and we're going to protect that worker. Now, I will tell you that one could question, and I think that JD Vance should be questioned on this, regarding whether or not that means a slowing down of our own growth, whether that means a slowing up of our own development. Are we engaging in protectionism in this White House? I think that's a very, very acceptable question to ask. And see if we agree with the answer. Then again, I don't think there may be protectionism, because President Trump was asked about JD Vance being his successor.
Do you view Vice President J.D. Vance as your successor, the Republican nominee in 2028?
No, but he's very capable. I mean, I don't think that I think you have a lot of very capable people. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early. We're just starting.
But by the time.
Okay. Now, I think a lot of people are going to run in 2028. Don't get me wrong, but could not have felt good to hear that. So, protecting American jobs, just not JD's advancement. Got it. This is Tony Katz today. It is the way I saw it. I mean, from Bear. I mean, it wasn't a question that matters. It's not that people aren't thinking about it. Of course, people are thinking of running in 2028. Of course, that's happening. So I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to describe it. Let me get myself ready for what is next here. And let me remind you, tickets are on sale right now for the newest show. Actually, I have a better graphic than that. That's the wrong graphic. We don't want to use that. That is old. We're already in to the new stuff, people. This is April 17th in Kokomo, Indiana. Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. Cannot wait. I've been doing a series of shows, of one-man shows, and this one is the latest one. We're going to take a look at Trump's first 100 days. We're going to see how it compares to other first 100 days. And we're going to see not only where there's been success and where there maybe hasn't been, but we're also going to take a look at the insanity of the left response to it. So this is April 17th, tickets.tonykatz.com. Tickets.tonykatz.com is where you go to get tickets. I'll actually put it there. Let me type it up if I could type. And then you can go and get tickets and you can come join us right there in Kokomo, Indiana. It's going to be a fantastic night. The bourbons. Oh, it's going to be so good. Cigars afterwards, because I do what I do. So I will bring that all to you. And I'm very much looking forward to the whole event. So I hope you'll join me. I'm going to put together some stuff for the that I need to do right now, just to make sure you've got everything you need. And let me give me 1 second. Usually I do the whole break thing, but I just didn't want to do that today. One minute, producer Landon. Thank you. There we go. There it is. Beautiful. 30 seconds. Gotcha, producer Landon. Now I am like staring at the whole halftime show and people screaming about and yelling about it. And what did it really mean? I'm like, I don't know what it really meant, but people are writing about what it really meant, and I'm going to go over that as well. So I've got a bunch to get to. President Trump has ordered the Secret Service to unseal the reports of these potential assassins. Because he's arguing that he's not getting enough details. No more excuses. No more holding back because of Biden. I'm entitled to know, and they held it back long enough. As it relates to a request by the president, any information held by the Secret Service will be provided to the president without exception. Yes, that makes sense to me. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com, and you can call in 833-468-8669, 833-GOT-TONY. Email Tony at TonyKatz.com. And of course, the Twittix there. You can be a part of what I'm doing over there on Twitter at Tony Katz. Just come say hello. This it would seem odd that anybody thinks that the president shouldn't get this information, which very often is, or I should say, has in Trump's time become a talking point. that somehow Trump shouldn't get information. He's not entitled to something. And they always try to couch it as this idea of breaking norms. The norms are the ones broken by the left. You can argue that Trump is moving at breakneck speed, which he is, by the way. It's incredible what is happening. I mean, truly incredible. But the idea of norm is that the president of the United States can say, I need this information, and he gets the information. As a matter of fact, I would like to know the situation by which he doesn't get the information. I understand the situation in which a senator from California, for example, Adam Schiff, the guy who lied about Russia, and got rewarded with a Senate seat. Rewarded with a Senate seat by California. How gross is that? You could have had Steve Garvey. At least we could have talked baseball. This guy lied about Russia repeatedly. Lied about seeing information, lied about having information, rewarded with a Senate seat. Yet somehow Trump is the one breaking norms. That senator maybe doesn't get access to certain information. The president? Of course, the president as commander-in-chief gets access to the information. I mean, of course. It would seem odd that you think that the information should be kept from him. How could the president make an informed decision if he wasn't getting it? So this ordering of the Secret Service seems almost superfluous. It should have happened without question. Now, some things the president has done, you could say, wait a second, I have a question about this. I saw somebody commenting, President Trump signed an executive order Monday evening pausing enforcement of a federal law that makes it a crime for U.S. businesses to bribe foreign officials. And you're like, wait, what in the world is this? Thank you, Tammy, for that. This order pauses enforcement of a foreign bribery ban. The first I heard of it was the other day. And I said, I do not know what this is. Here is the executive order, right? I will read it to you. I don't shy away from things, guys. It's not how it works. I'll discuss absolutely, positively everything with you. It's kind of what we do. It's our thing, boo. So here it is. Pausing foreign corrupt practices enforcement to further American economic and national security. Well, that's a statement. Since its enactment in 1977, the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act has been systematically and to a steadily increasing degree stretched beyond proper bounds and abused in a manner that harms the interests of the United States. Current enforcement of the FCPA, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, impedes the United States foreign policy objectives and therefore implicates the president's Article 2 authority over foreign affairs. The president's foreign policy authority is inextricably linked with the global economic competitiveness of American companies. American national security depends in substantial part on the United States and its companies gaining strategic business advantages, whether in critical minerals, deep water ports, or other key infrastructure or assets. But overexpansive, they write over there, but overexpansive and unpredictable FCPA enforcement against American citizens and businesses by our own government for routine business practices in other nations not only wastes limited prosecutorial resources that could be dedicated to preserving American freedoms, but actively harms American economic competitiveness and therefore national security. So for a period of 180 days following the date of this order, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, shall review guidelines and policies governing investigations and enforcement actions under the FCPA. Now, I think if you were to give this a first read, you'd be like, wait. So we're going to allow for bribes? I don't think that would be the case here. I think the question is whether or not, because of how work is done in other places, whether or not American companies are being kept from even getting a seat at the table. The statement is many, many deals are unable to be made because nobody wants to do business because they don't want to feel like every time they pick up the phone, they're going to jail, which has to do with an overactive enforcement or maybe a questioning of every conversation. I would argue that what Trump is stating here is we are in a place where we take American citizens and we search for ways to make them guilty of something for just being in the due course of business. It's like when a doctor gets a knock on the door from the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency. Doctor prescribed pain pills. Some people are in pain and they get prescribed pain pills. And the DEA comes down on the doctor for the prescription. And what is the end result? Oh, that doctor doesn't prescribe pain pills anymore. Now, you could be saying, well, when you're overprescribing pain pills, when you're just one of those pill mills, I didn't say that. There are people out there in real pain. Should they live that way? This is the question for the DEA, and something I'd like to see Trump take up. Should people live in pain, yes or no? We have the ability through the technological advances, through the science, through these pharmaceutical companies that save lives and give people better quality of life. We have the opportunity to reduce pain in Americans all across the board. Should we stop doing that? This doctor over here could have been involved in giving prescriptions for cash. That's a crime. But some doctor who's prescribing pills for pain and gets a knock on the door from the DEA, which is only meant to threaten them. It's the only reason it happens. You're not overprescribing, are you? We'd hate to think you're overprescribing. Maybe we have to look into this. Do we have to look into this? Maybe we have to look into this. It's all a threat. It is your own government threatening you. And it is disgusting. Now, if someone were to say to me that it is very much like that regarding these foreign corporations and how they work in other countries, well, yeah, I would want that pause too. Understand that this is a pause to change in enforcement, to take a look at how to ensure it works better. I don't believe anybody here is saying we should allow for bribes. And I would argue I don't want bribes. The bribe society sucks. These countries that live in bribe culture, man, that is not a fun way to live. That is a pretty awful, terrible, miserable way to live. Stinks to high heaven. Nothing ever gets accomplished. Everything is always awful. Always, always, always awful. But if the argument is the law is being utilized outside of its scope, well, then that's a problem. Now, I ask you this. Is it not possible in today's America that a law, that an agency, that a program is being utilized outside its scope? Once you've said yes as fast as you humanly can, well, then it's okay to make a change. It's okay to ask whether or not this is working. There are some people who will think that, anything Trump wants, that's what you're doing, Tony. You're just appeasing Trump. These are the people who don't understand what it is we voted for. I state quite clearly that bribes are wrong. Bribes do not jive with capitalism. I am not in favor of them at all, just like I'm not in favor of any level of insider trading. I am not in favor of a government that abuses its citizens. I use the DEA example as my example. That's a good one. And I'm telling you, if I took the time and spoke to 100 doctors, I'll find that story repeatedly. Not that I haven't already found that story. We are the nation that stopped people from getting a tax-exempt status when they were starting Tea Party groups. Of course it was Barack Obama. You want to pin it on Lois Lerner? You want to pin it on some IRS perfunctory lackey in Cincinnati? Feel free. We know what happened here. Our government was utilized as a cudgel against the citizenry. What would make me think that that was the only place that took place? Why shouldn't we look at it? Why shouldn't we engage some level of review? I get that when you first hear the story that we're going to pause this FCPA, the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. We're going to put a pause on a prohibition of American companies and foreign firms from bribing officials. Well, what is it that we're allowing? Well, you read a little bit, you're like, okay, take some time, see if it's working. There it is. Make that I can accept. The left cannot accept. The left can't accept because they cannot accept the idea that things aren't working. More government, more intrusiveness, more threats to the American citizen. They can't, they're okay with this. They're okay with this because it's probably happening to you. Right? If it happens to them, well, it's the worst thing in the world. But if it happens to you, good, you probably deserved it. I don't think it should happen to you or them. Do I want bribery? No. Will I be keeping an eye on this? Oh, yes. Do I mind a review? No. I don't mind a review. Why in the world would I mind a review? In this world, grown men and women review everything. They go over their checkbook. They go over their investments. Do you read an email before you send it out? We review all sorts of things. And every now and then we go back and say, well, we set this up a couple years ago. Is this still right and accurate? Only when it comes to government. Nope, you can't touch that. Yeah, I think you can. I admit it's an interesting thing. And I would like to hear where businesses have not been able to grow because of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. I'd like to hear how it has been the impediment. But government agencies and regulators being an impediment? Oh, that's absolutely true. This is Tony Katz Today. I'm convinced what I just talked about bothered the right and the left, guys. Like, I think everybody's like bothered with me at this moment, which must mean I'm doing something right. Right? I mean, it's got to be what it means. Got to be doing something. Right. Yeah, I just learned that. So I see all comments, right? Comes from Facebook and comments that come from YouTube. But you guys can't see. You guys don't see the whole chat. So what if I go over to Rumble right now? Hello, Rumble Bumble. That one's going on. And see, but your comments on Rumble. Well, hey, Smell Sir, I'm glad you're listening now. I'm glad you're on it. That's very cool. Tam J, what's going on? Yeah, how do we get it all in one spot? How do we get the chat all in the same place? Now that would mean like a separate chat. And honestly, I don't know if I have the strength for that. There's only so much I could do, only so much I can put together. Oh man, there's got to be a way, because I see everybody except for the Rumble people. The Rumble people on Rumble, I can't. I have to be on Rumble to see. And somebody asked the cigar. So this is the Olmec Foundation right here. That's what we've got here. So this is the DB Claro, the 7x54, the Churchill. It's a beauty. I don't know much about Foundation. I just think that I think the Olmec is an absolutely remarkable stick. And yes, I bought a box. I think it's an excellent stick, beautifully well prepared. Really something else. So this is a San Andreas? Yes, a Mexican San Andreas a wrapper. So this is Nicaraguan in the binder and the filler out of Jalapa and Esteli. It's terrific. That's all there is to it. It's just absolutely terrific. We're going to get back to the show, and then we're going to take a break. Stay right there. I got a lot to get to. So yet another plane crash. This one involving a plane owned by Vince Neil, or Vince Neil was using Motley Crue. That's right. Motley Crue. So I guess he does own it. It was utilized by his girlfriend. They're at the Scottsdale airport. They're there in Arizona. They veer off the runway. And the pilot's now dead. What in the possible world? I mean, she ended up with 5 broken ribs. I'm supposed to be in DC next week. I'm going for the Conservative Political Action Conference. I'm going to drive. This is nutty. This is absolutely nutty. What's going on? And that we haven't gotten good answers regarding what happened with this midair collision with the Black Hawk and the regional jet. I mean, I could just be out of my mind. Of course I can fly. I'm going to drive. There comes a moment where accidents is proof of something else. This is Tony Katz today. Hey, Landon, why would we let the music run so long there? Yeah, let's bring that down faster than that, if we would, sir. Thank you so much. And when I say it's emblematic, guys, of something more than that, it's ignorance, it's lackadaisicalness. It's just this is not all right. This is nutty. Frightening stuff. Anyway, by the way, Eric, welcome back. I'm sorry. So I'm on in Detroit on weekends on AM Superstation 990. And so hopefully you can get your fix there. We're working on some others, and I hope to bring it to you soon, man. I would love to be on the 5-day a week part of it. We'll work on it. We will work on it. Meantime, we're taking the radio break, so we'll take the break right here. Glad you're here. Smoke them if you got them. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Can I tell you that's annoying me? Like this is showing. That why does it do that? Why can't it just be like normal? I don't know. Maybe it's just the angle of the camera. Maybe I'm the only one who sees it. Whatever it is. Good to be with you. We are smoking the Olmec from Foundation right there. That is what we are smoking for today. An absolutely beautiful cigar with that Mexican San Andreas wrapper. Nicaraguan in the binder and the filler. This is the 7x54. This is the DB Corona, as they would say on the box right there. It's upside down. I apologize. Foundation is not a sponsor. I'm just a huge fan of the cigar. You guys know that I do a show called Eat, Drink, Smoke. We do a cigar, boom, right there. We do cigar and bourbon reviews and talk about what's going on in the cigar lounge, everything else. And so eatdrinksmokeshow.com. I should have the TK logo up there. We're like, why didn't I have it up there? Because I've got this one, which, by the way, sponsorship's now available. If you want this spot, that can happen. We can make that happen. Tony at TonyKatz.com. Reach out. All right. There is a Hulk in our midst. Let us discuss it. That is coming up. And the live event on April 17th is happening. Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. Get your tickets. Do that immediately. April 17th, Kokomo, Indiana. Cannot wait to bring that to you. It's going to be excellent. Let the show begin. Tom Homan confirming that there was indeed a leak regarding their operation in Colorado. This is Tom Homan, the border czar. They were going after Trinidad in Colorado, and they got word that Trinidad got word that they were coming. And Homan said, we're going to look into this. Well, they did.
Tom Homan. Tom, where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we're thinking it's coming from inside. And we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation, and they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it.
Is that the truth? Is someone from the FBI leaked to a Venezuelan gang? Hey, the feds are coming, scatter. I mean, that's jail time. And you got to go a step further, right? Let them investigate. Let that take place. But if someone is doing that, what is it that moves people to saying, I support the Venezuelan gang, or name the gang that is involved in absolute violence and destruction? We already know what they were doing at those apartment complexes. Why would you support them over your own nation? And you realize that this whole draining the swamp conversation is the only thing that isn't moving fast enough. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. There are a lot of people who need to go. There are a lot of people who cannot be part of this government. And that's why I liked the buyouts, although I question whether or not the government can give a buyout to somebody. You want people gone who don't want to be here anymore. You want them gone. And we should want them gone. And we should want to have a lean, focused, effective government. So much of what we have seen from the political left over the last 3 weeks since Donald Trump got inaugurated is that they favor the waste. Oh, you can't touch this agency. Oh, you can't touch this organization. No, you can't touch this. No, you can't do that. No, we have to spend here. Oh, we have to spend there. They're constantly in this state of how dare you touch what is ours, which is, of course, how they view it. When your store burns down because of riots, they don't give a damn. They don't show up. They do not care. They care about things that are not the things. For example, they'll talk about caring about diversity. And I hear this a lot. You hear it a lot. Oh, we care about diversity. Diversity matters so much. It makes us so much stronger. If your argument is different people come with different thoughts, I would agree. I'd agree wholeheartedly. I'd agree 10 billion %. It's not even a question. If you want to argue that work experiences and life experiences can provide you different thoughts and different ideas that might be helpful, absolutely. Absolutely true. If we take a look at experience and saying it mattering to a job, we can say that the experience comes in different forms, but it would also depend on the job, right? Of what experience that matters. Right? I have experience in media. I have experience in communications. I have experience in technology. It doesn't mean, okay, you're our new head of surgery. It's not what it means. The experience has to fit the place. But diversity through their eyes is this DEI hellscape. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, is not a diverse. It is not equitable and does not include. It divides. It rips people apart. We all know this. And the only people holding on to it are the people desperate to profit off of it. And one of the places we saw this was in the military. Look how much, how strong we are when we have diversity in the military. And it came down to a conversation of people who are trans and all sorts of things. A few years back, I had a conversation with Brian Suits. Now, Brian Suits is a radio host in his own right, and an excellent host. A really interesting cat. But he also spent time serving our country. And by the way, serving our country is not a get out of jail free card. There are plenty of people who serve the country and are awful. Hey there, the Vinman family. How you doing? Good to see you. There are plenty of people who serve the country and believe that is their get out of jail free card for anything they say and do. You can't criticize me. I served. You don't know. You don't even know what this means. It's so silly. It's silly for someone to think that because of something they did, that they are excused for forever. That's just not the way it works. That you served in the military, but you are also a communist, well, you don't get to serve in the military anymore. That you are a member of the FBI, but you possibly leaked information about a raid to a Venezuelan gang for money, as some people are commenting on the live stream, or you hate the United States, you think their policies are wrong. Serving in the FBI is meaningless at that point. Don't tell me to respect you. It's not going to happen. Not in the slightest. People who served in the military and then believe that diversity is more important than being a killing machine and readiness, well, sorry, that's ridiculous. This conversation with Brian Suits was interesting in that his argument was that he had not seen where people being trans really affected readiness as much as mixing men and women in the same unit, because this is my words, this is my paraphrase. They all end up having sex with each other, and that can absolutely affect the unit cohesion and readiness. That wasn't happening with the person that is trans. But without question, if you believe that the military should be some kind of institution for social change, that's deluded thinking. The military should be no instrument for social change. Our changes as a society could lead to changes in the military. But the idea that the military should be engaged in or initiating social change, absolutely not. Anything that takes away from the readiness, anything that takes away from the mission of lethality, is saying that we don't want the military that we need. And I believe in the military that we need. Over the past 4 years, the military has wanted to show us that diversity matters. And look, here's this trans soldier, and here's this trans soldier. And no. You know what America wants to see? This guy. There is a photo of Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, in Germany, and he's training with the troops. He's doing a workout with the troops. He's lifting weights. He's running. He's shaking everybody's hand, and they're waiting in line to shake his hand. Maybe you could have seen that video from Lloyd Austin. Certainly not the workout stuff. Pete Hegseth is in very good shape. This is a part of his everyday life. He's working out with the guys, and he's on this run. It's early morning. It looks like it's either raining or there was already a rain. In the photo with Pete Hegseth is a guy. The Hulk lives, ladies and gentlemen. He is huge. He may be the biggest human being I have ever seen in a photo, who wasn't like a professional wrestler or something. He could be. The guy that he fits into his own skin is amazing. And when I say huge, I don't mean fat bastard kind of huge. I want my baby back, baby back, baby. No. By the way, I believe that's going to be used as a meme against me for all time. The guy is a rock. You're going to be seeing that image over and over and over again in your social media feeds. You're going to be seeing that image everywhere. That is the military people want to see. Now, military members come in all shapes and sizes. And I do believe in many, many ways, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. I absolutely, positively believe that. But in both cases, you recognize you need the dog. We're already seeing recruitment go up. Why is that? Well, this is a conversation about men at this point, and how men are and how men act. And the argument from the left is, well, you see, you're just misogynist or sexist or you're closed-minded or you're bigoted. And here's the answer. Screw you. Men want to be a part of something greater than themselves. Right? When you take a look at men and the very concept of family, the responsibility of family is, for men, very attractive. That challenge, that purpose, that calling, that cause, that is a value. And there are men who want that. And they want to live up to that. And they want all the things that come with that, the life that comes with that, the joy that comes with that, the stability that comes with that. Sure, they know there'll be hardships and there'll be issues and there'll be disagreements and the kid's going to do this and the money's going to be tight over here. They're fully aware of that. But they absolutely see that responsibility and say, I can do that. I want that. And they pride themselves on it. There are plenty of men right now working two jobs. And while they may never admit it, they pride themselves on making sure they've done what is necessary to take care of their family. Undoubtedly true. There are, in the military, I would argue, not being a military man myself, but still, I don't know, alive and able to understand concepts. There are a tremendous amount of people who value the idea that they are serving their country and not serving social justice. They are providing a service and a value to their nation and creating a value for themselves and not participants in some kind of pseudo-intellectual project for somebody else's political ideology. It is about the nation and hearing this call and feeling this call and this belief that I want to serve these people, my fellow Americans, and not be called terrible for doing so. And not being subjected to, well, sure, you have to kill the enemy. But first, here, read why you're a racist. Every move being made by Pete Hegseth to eliminate these DEI nonsense positions, every move made to pull them out of the academy world, whether it's the Air Force Academy, West Point, etc., is the right move. I would argue, based solely on what we know the enlistment numbers to be, that every time you showed somebody who is transgender, you did not get an increase at all in enlistment, in recruitment. This Hulk? This guy? Yes. Now, you can argue that that is sexist and bigoted. You can argue it all you want. I'm not going to stop you from doing such a thing. What I'm going to tell you is that it is a representation of the focus that people who join the military want a military. Why are we pretending that somehow they don't want this? When it's very obvious as you see the numbers, at least as it is reported, that they do. The same thing can be said of Trump as a whole. They didn't want a president who was weak. They didn't want a president who didn't know where he was. They didn't want a president who had to be led around by the freaking nose by the Easter Bunny. They want a guy who works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, chugs Diet Coke, has himself a McDonald's burger, and then says, oh, by the way, we're going to deport every illegal immigrant and gang member out there. They want a guy who looks at Hamas and says, return the hostages or you're done. They want that strength because they want to feel that they've got somebody behind them because they're going to give their all. If someone else, if there's a leadership that's willing to give their all, they want to give their all to that leadership. That's how they serve. That's how they feel committed. And the proof is that the Army had its most productive December in 15 years, enlisting 346 soldiers every day, 10,726 soldiers that month. All of 2024, they enlisted 55,000 new active duty soldiers. Some people feel the call, and bless them. Some people want to know they're fighting for something. I think now they do. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Good to be with you. I'm just grabbing some stuff, and man, it's been a social media day. It absolutely has been. I'll get into it. Turns out I may have arrived. I don't know. It certainly seems that way. Oh, I didn't realize the Jordanian president was in town. Oh, good questions. I will bring this to you. Let me grab as much of that as I can. Talking about the future of Gaza. So good. It's so good. That's the thing with Joe Biden. Anytime he was going to speak, you knew exactly when it was going to happen, and you knew he'd be exactly 2 hours late, and you knew it would be exactly the same old blah, blah, blah. Trump every 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds. He's having some kind of chat with somebody. He's making a statement. Unbelievable. 30 seconds till the radio show. I got you. Just grabbing these audio clips right here, and then I will share them with you. It's going to take a little while for those to process. Okay. All right, coming back to the show. We got a couple minutes here, and then I'll hit this stuff. So Elon Musk wanted to buy ChatGPT. The parent company of ChatGPT AI is called OpenAI, and that is Sam Altman. And they offered to buy it. Musk and a group of investors, $97.4 billion. That was the offer. Tony Katz today. I did not know that Musk and Sam Altman were constantly fighting. Musk is in the claim that OpenAI has broken with its founding charter by seeking to make a profit with its AI tools. So Musk gathers some people and says, here you go. And states if Sam Altman and the present OpenAI Inc. board of directors are intent on becoming a fully for-profit company, it is vital that the charity be fairly compensated for what its leadership is taking away from it. Control over the most transformative technology of our time. Now Sam Altman has said, no thanks. We're not taking that. But if you want, we'll buy Twitter for $9.74 billion. That's a weird number. So billionaires having a fight over the technology that may very well determine the course of the future. So that's happening. This is Tony Katz today. You got questions, I have got answers. I just wanted to get that audio squared away. I wasn't going to do any more on Gaza, but there it is. So let me do that. And I want to do this preacher audio too. So that, and then Trump, Gaza. And then all the flu that's going around, Dr. Lou Profeta will be on the radio show in the next hour. In the next hour, ER doctor talking about what's going on, what they're experiencing, what hospitals are experiencing, and why. And the flu is the flu. The flu is the flu. Do you get the smokes online or smoke shop? The answer is yes. I try very hard to do things in a shop. I'm a big believer in local. I'm a believer in the local cigar establishment. I think that there is a future for me doing something like that. Absolutely, 1,000%. I think that's in my future. But there are sometimes deals online and they can't be denied. And some things you might not be able to get access to, and so you can get them online. So yeah, I do what I can to shop locally, as much as possible. I try and shop locally. This is an Indiana question, right? An Indianapolis question. What's your favorite restaurant that isn't a big restaurant? Well, that's a good question. That's a very, very, very good question. I am partial to, because a friend and I do work with him, Big Hoffa's in Westfield. I think they do spectacular barbecue. I think he does an excellent brisket. I think he does excellent ribs. If you haven't been, do I have a copy of the book? I don't have a book near me. That's crazy. You guys know I wrote a book on barbecue called Let's Go Barbecue. I thought I had a copy right here. Shame on me. Let's Go BBQ, recipes, tips, and tales from the pit. I wonder if I have a picture of it. No, I don't right there. So there is a place in Indianapolis called Hank's Smoked Briskets. Hank's is 38th and MLK. It's in a little plaza where you're like, I don't know if I should pull into this plaza. Hank and his family, they do a solid brisket. Don't get me wrong there. But he does a smoked corned beef that is the finest thing I've ever had in my life. There is nothing smoked I have ever created, I have ever done, that is remotely close to how good Hank's smoked corned beef is. 1 minute, heard. It is miraculous what they've done there. So there's a couple in my local area. Then there's some places I haven't been to enough, like Mesh. I think is good. That's Cunningham Group. I think the Cunningham Group is outrageously solid. Their salt on mass I have not gotten yet. Geraldine's Supper Club? Was that Fountain Square? Oh, I got to get there. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Meanwhile, let me get to this. Trump talking to the president of Jordan about Gaza, because this could very well change the world. Show's coming back. So talk about putting people on the spot. You've got President Trump with the King of Jordan in the Oval Office, and the questions are flying.
Just to follow up with one on that for King Abdullah, can you clarify again, sir, how do you feel about the U.S. taking Gaza, as the president said?
Well, again, this is something that we as Arabs will be coming to the United States with something that we're going to talk about later to discuss all these options.
Yes, you're going to be discussing all of these options, aren't you? That was very diplomatic. Very, very diplomatic from the King of Jordan there, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Interesting that the question would be asked, and interesting the answer. President Trump continued.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
And Mr. President, would you seek to personally develop property in Gaza after this happens?
No, I've had a great career in real estate.
So Trump changed the conversation there, because the question was under what authority, meaning what legal authority, and his answer was it will be under U.S. authority, meaning, if you will, governed or controlled. This has been the conversation that Gaza and the Palestinians, they absolutely cannot be in charge of their own future. They're incapable of doing it, which is absolutely true. And so the United States is going to put itself in the position to be in charge there. Now, I don't know how MAGAville feels about this, because this would very much seem to me to be like nation building, being the world's policeman, and that's something that MAGAville is vehemently opposed to. So I don't know how they would see that situation. I really and truly don't. But the question was, under what authority do you get to take Gaza altogether? And the conversation continued with the King of Jordan. Marco Rubio is there, the Secretary of State.
President, you said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What is that?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually, where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years, you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza. The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. No, it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's fronting on the sea. It's going to be a great economic development job. It's going to put people to work, a lot of people to work. And those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
The, again, question is, how does MAGAville see it, right? How do they square the circle here regarding not wanting to be a nation of nation builders? Trump was also asked about Arab voters in the U.S.
All right.
Mr. President, one last question.
Go ahead behind you, and you've asked enough.
Mr. President, one of your promises on the campaign trail is to bring peace to the Middle East. It was a promise to your Arab voters here. The Arab voters in the United States oppose this. What do you say to that?
Well, if you look at Michigan, where we have a large Arab population, as you know, I was just telling the king that we won. As you know, I won the Arab population. Now, when I started off, I wasn't leading. And when I finished, a few months later, we started campaigning in Michigan. And when I finished, we won it by a tremendous amount, by 30 points. So my relationship with the Arab population has been fantastic. And my relationship with the Middle East is very good with all the countries, just about all the countries. Let's see, I would say all the countries. And they all want to do something, and they want to see peace in the Middle East. So all the stories you hear about the Middle East not really wanting peace, that they want war, they want this, they want to go a certain place. Let me tell you, those stories are false. They want to have peace. I know them all very well. They want to have peace. They want to have a good life like other people. And this will be a big factor in bringing peace to the Middle East. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, guys. Let's go. Thank you. In order to have that conversation properly, what President Trump has to address is the Middle East is not all terrorists. One of the things we know for sure is that the people of Iran, they hate the Ayatollah, they hate the mullahs, the hardliners, the clerics. They live absolutely oppressed. They don't see themselves that way. They see themselves as Europeans, and they want to engage trade. They want to drink coffee in cafes. They want to lead a life. They'd like to have some tourism back. The Abraham Accords are an example of changing a dynamic. And what Trump is discussing here is a changing of a dynamic. And so we can show that the dynamic has changed, can be changed, and the people who are fretting now are engaged in a little bit of silliness, right? They'll say things like this is Hal with a comment. MAGA will be fine with anything Trump does. It's a cult. I argue that there are definitely some people who would say whatever Trump does is absolutely fine by them. And I would argue the entirety of the Democratic Party said whatever Joe Biden does is fine by us. The Supreme Court says you can't pay off student loans, and he brags about not listening to the Supreme Court, and every Democrat was fine. Not only fine with what Joe Biden says, the Democrats were fine with allowing 14.5 million people to have their vote discounted, to be set aside for a candidate that no one voted for. 14.5 million people said Joe Biden is our candidate in a re-election. And the Democratic Party said nope. And the Democratic Party said whatever you say. So if you want to play the cult game, you're more than welcome to. But you got to look at yourself first. Two things took place in the first Trump term that prove that you have to change the concept. The first is the moving of the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It has always been the capital of Israel. It will always be the capital of Israel from now until the end of all existence. There is no reason for the embassy to be in Tel Aviv. Well, Jerusalem's really this international city. Well, we're not really sure who owns it. Well, we can't say this about the Israelis. And Trump said, the embassy is in Jerusalem. Thank you. And people said, oh, you're just inflaming tensions in the area. With who? The terrorists who already hate us? They hate the Jews. They hate the Israelis. They hate America. They hate Western civilization. They're going to be inflamed. They're going to be angry. Oh, my gosh. We can't have that. They're going to be angry. Whatever will we do? We've been through this. We've heard this. Angry terrorists?
These people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Forget these people, or more to a point.
These people.
They mean nothing. Move the embassy. You know, nothing special. Oh, that's what led to October 7th. No. October 7th was in the planning for years. October 7th was an absolute failure, Shin Bet. and Netanyahu and other intelligence agencies, including some U.S. intelligence agencies. We didn't know exactly what was in the tunnels. We didn't know that they were planning. We didn't know they had bought all these cell phones. Don't get me wrong. We're still not done with the people who have to be held to account for allowing that to take place and Americans to be taken hostage. But the embassy was one move. Then was the Abraham Accords. Usually, the answer in creating some kind of deal with these nations were, well, you haven't solved the question about the Palestinians. The Abraham Accord said, could we stop having this conversation and start creating deals, and then we can figure other stuff out later? Can we stop living in this world of absolute hatred and nonsense and fear and anger and violence? And a bunch of nations said, yeah, sure, we'd like to get some trade going and make some cash. Where do we sign? Change the deals. Change the entire paradigm. Changed it. I don't know if that's what's going to happen in Gaza, but it does show that there is a difference. And people need to recognize that there's a difference between people in the Arab world and terrorists. When Hezbollah got decimated by the pager attack, Syria fell. Now, it fell to Islamists. But that's the level of stranglehold these terrorist groups have. And after it fell, what did the Druze community say? D-R-U-Z-E, please, Israel, annex us. We can't live under their rule. They'll kill us. They may not like Jews or Israel, but they don't need to spend their whole lives hating Israel when they can make a couple bucks and live a good life. That's what Trump's betting on, because that's his entire mathematics. Interesting about this conversation in front of the King of Jordan. Meanwhile, there's a preacher looking for some acts of violence against Elon Musk. That story next. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz Today. So I got asked a couple questions that I want to get to in the comments right here. You might have mentioned, but what is your smoker of choice? Smith, I appreciate the question. So I use an ironwood of a Traeger. Is what I use. Mine is a 650. Am I saying that right? So it's they may consider that a little bit older now. Wood Traeger. I think they do. Yeah, because I think they have some newer stuff these days. There's the Ironwood 885, and so this one's a little bit smaller of a of a smoker space, which is fine. If I can put a 15-pound brisket on a smoker, I'm good. I am good and fine, and that's that, right? I think I'm due. I probably should get something else. I find I don't do the wood, if only because I'm willing to stay up with it, but man, that's a lot of work. Wood is a whole different thing. Wood is real difficult stuff, and I'm in. I have a friend who has a portable trailer smoker, and so this spring there's going to be a lot of experimentation, especially with pork, which is weird for the Jewish guy. But I do want to try it. I want to get good at it. The 650, which is a 650 square inch cooking area, I think it's exceptional. And what has been fascinating is I don't have it's not thermal, 1 minute heard, but it deals in cold weather very well. And I've had many times where I've thought I'd have to increase the cook time by like two hours because it's colder. I'm going to be fighting the elements to try and keep the temperature where I need it. And no, it's there. It's really well done holding. Now, this is different than utilizing a little green egg or something else. There's a lot of good. Rectech makes an incredible smoker. There's a lot of good equipment out there. I just happen to use this. And then I have a Weber grill that is propane. Don't hate me. Flat top griddle is next. That is next. And then basically I'm going to open a restaurant in my backyard. That's what's going to, and then the cigar shop will be right next door. Creating my own Disney village. But it only costs half the price. Let's get back to the show.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go, and we will not go. So therefore, there will be conflict.
Well, conflict. I'm here for that. Wait, hold on. This just in. I am not. But it's interesting to hear this from a preacher talking about Elon Musk. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. The Elon Musk obsession, don't get me wrong, he's in the news quite a bit, but he's the boogeyman, he's the enemy, he's the threat, he's this, he's that. If we're talking about getting rid of waste, if we're talking about saving the American people millions, if not billions of dollars, if we're talking about paring down the scope of government so it's more efficient, why is there opposition to this? Oh, you don't like how it's happening? I wonder how they would even propose it happening. And since they had 4 years to do it and did nothing, maybe they were not actually interested in doing it in the first place. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. This preacher, though, is concerned about Elon Musk, and his concern leads down a very interesting road for a preacher.
I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence.
That isn't what happened. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Why would you say that? Elon Musk is stealing your Social Security check? $300 billion, but you're $842.17. That's going to make the difference? See, before I didn't think I had blank you money, but now with that $842.17, now I got blank you money to spare. Whoo! Glad I got that. This is silly. This is fear mongering. And it goes on.
Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight. Well, someone might say, now, Reverend, you shouldn't be talking about violence. This isn't the Christian thing to do. Well, I will say, why not talk this way? Because Jesus did. Jesus said in this key verse, didn't he? The kingdom of heaven suffers what? Violence. And the who? The violent take it by force. The kingdom of God is a war zone.
I don't claim to be an expert on scripture. I leave that for others. But he's saying that the scripture says go out there and do violence against Elon Musk, and I assume anybody who would support Elon Musk and therefore the president. This is what's coming from the pulpit. I didn't know that's what Jesus did. I didn't know that was part of the scripture, and I know it's not. There is no difference in my view between this and MSNBC screaming threat to democracy when talking about Trump, calling for a lone wolf, as I discussed many times, to do harm to President Trump. That's what this is. It's a call to do harm. Kind of leaves you speechless. This is Tony Katz today. Crazy. Nutty. With that, guys, I got to run. So I'm digging what we're doing with the live stream. I do think I need a different camera angle, though. Maybe a secondary camera angle. I don't know. Something. But I'm glad you guys are here. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow in all the places, right? On Twitter and Instagram, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, YouTube, and Rumble. You can find me as well at Tony Katz. You should check that out for yourself. And do not forget, you got April 17th, 2025, Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. Learn how Trump's first 100 days may be the most dynamic in American history. We're going to drink bourbon. We're going to smoke cigars afterwards. I'm going to run you through the first 100 days, compare it to other presidents' first 100 days. How is it more dynamic? What exactly is different? Why does it matter? And of course, the political left's absolutely criminally insane, cuckoo, ridiculous reaction to it all. April 17th, tickets.tonykatz.com. That's where you go. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Go get your tickets. Get them now. I'm looking forward to the sellout sooner rather than later. I cannot wait. Tickets.tonykatz.com. I hope you'll come out. I hope you'll join me. I greatly appreciate you guys being here. We're going to do this more often, and I will catch you tomorrow. You guys take care.